Welcome to the internet review of the May 12th, 2013 Bridge Winners Fantasy Vanderbilt Challenge. As a result of winning the Fantasy Challenge, Howard Kallenberg was entitled to select a team to challenge the Bridge Winners staff in a 24-board match for a $500 prize. Howard selected as his team partner Donna Morgan, and as his teammates, Danny and Joanne Sprung. For the Bridge Winners team in the first half, we have Gavin Wolpert and Steve Weinstein partnered with Ari Greenberg and Eugene Hung. And you can see that the four of them have joined me to discuss the first 12 boards of the match tonight, and then we will do another 12 boards at a later date. So you can see seated from left to right, we have Ari, please wave Ari. And then we have Eugene.
Hello.
And Gavin.
Hi.
And this is John Adams, hello. And then on the far right, we have Steve Weinstein.
Hey, John, thank you.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and start. We're going to do this in two board segments. So starting with board number one, go ahead and bring that up if you would. We have a very interesting sort of near slam decision for North-South to make. And I'd like to go ahead and invite Steve and Gavin to talk about their auction and their considerations in avoiding the slam.
Well, we were playing 2-over-1, and I had a normal 1-diamond opener, and Steve had a normal 2-club game force. And my 2-diamond, we didn't have a lot of agreements. At my 2-diamond bid, I assumed showed longer diamonds, and Steve's 3-club bid was just, also longer clubs. But often with club hands, we'll rebid 2 no's. So 3 clubs says more that he's more distributional, or that he's lacking a stopper and a suit for bidding 2 no.
Yeah, I think 3 clubs. Just for 1 sec. I think 3 clubs could easily be slamming, or as Gavin said, it's a 3-no hand, but with a problem.
So over 3 clubs, I felt like I had a pretty awkward bid. I certainly didn't have the diamond suit for 3 diamonds. My hand could be, I could visualize a grand slam if he has solid clubs in the ace of diamonds. But at the same time, I don't really know if it's even what if we'll even make 5 clubs if his clubs are a little weak. So I was really stuck. I really didn't know what a good bid was. I certainly didn't want to bid 3-no trump outright, because like I said, I could make a grand slam, and I didn't feel comfortable committing the hand past 3-no, because I felt like his club suit didn't have to be solid, and I was a little worried that if he had short diamonds and mediocre clubs, and the reason he didn't bid 2-no was because he didn't have a stopper in a major, was that 3-no trump would be the right end position. Now, I knew that when my 3-heart bid, I was assuming Steve was just going to take it as showing a heart stopper on the way to 3-no trump. And I felt like I didn't want to bid 3 spades and imply I absolutely did not have a heart stopper, so I decided to go with 3 hearts. And when Steve bid 3-no trump, I felt like he had spades stopped, and I had maybe talked him out of a heart lead, and he most likely had short diamonds, but I couldn't be sure. That's why I left it there.
I think Gavin has a really hard bid over 3 clubs. I mean, he has a good hand for slam, if that's the direction I'm going. And also, the problem with 3 hearts is it might make it so that we avoid 3-no when it's the right contract, because it sounds like he has a heart stopper and not a spade stopper, but it does leave us a lot of room. I think all in all, he has a very, very difficult choice between 4 clubs, 3 hearts, and 3-no. And I don't know what the right bid is myself.
So when he chooses 3 hearts, how do you tell the difference of whether he's got mild slam interest for clubs, or if he's just showing a heart stopper for 3-no?
Well, the first obligation, bids below 3-no really have to be to get to 3-no. So I'm assuming he's showing a heart stopper, and if he has slam aspirations, he's going to have to follow through over 3-no.
Okay. I think the play to 3-no trump was rather interesting. Steve, would you go ahead and tell us about your thoughts about the play? First, where you won the first trick and what you're thinking about that was.
Sure. I mean, it's an interesting hand in IMS versus match points, because in IMS, you really almost always want to guarantee your contract if there's any risk of going down, and there's a way to guarantee it. So the only risk of going down on this hand is if the jack fourth of clubs is in the west hand. So if I win the ace of spades and play the king of diamonds, assuming the clubs come in, I'm going to take 10 tricks. But if the clubs don't come in and they knock out my king of spades, I'm going to go down in a cold hand. So I decided to take the safety play of winning the ace of spades and dummy and leading the 10 of clubs, which is the technically right play in clubs. And also now if it gets covered or there's a stiff jack, I have an entry back to dummy 7 of clubs to play the king of diamonds to set up the over trick. So this guaranteed the contract, and I still got my over trick. But in match points, I definitely would win the ace of spades and play the king of diamonds and just pay off to jack fourth of clubs offside.
Very interesting. Thank you. So at the other table, it looks like they rebid 2 no trump rather than rebidding 3 clubs. Ari or Eugene, do you have any comments on their auction based on their explanations?
Yeah, I actually asked the opponents before dummy came down what 2 no trump was, and they said that 3 clubs in that auction would have been non-forcing. So any hand that is game forcing with a single suitor in clubs has to probably bid 2 no. If it can't bid another suit.
Very interesting.
Just as to explain, we play 3 clubs as forcing. We play 2 clubs as absolutely game forcing, and with the invitational hands with clubs over a diamond, we would respond 3 clubs to show an invitational hand. And that's expert standard.
That makes sense. So they also won the first trick in dummy, and then rather than playing the 10, they led the 7, which did not induce a cover. Any thoughts, Eugene, about skying the jack to prevent a duck into your partner?
Yes, I did think about that. But at the time, I wasn't sure which suit we should be attacking. It's possible on this auction that my partner had 5 spades to the queen jack, and I could stand a heart shift from his side because I had the queen of hearts. There was no heart holding that I thought would blow the suit. So I decided to not take control of the defense, and if it went to partner, I figured he could figure out what the right thing to do was, given that he saw the 2 of spades encouraging a trick 1.
And in fact, playing low resulted in an over trick when he didn't have an easy entry back to dummy to set up the diamond. So first blood scored by the bridge winners team, 1 imp for the over trick and 3 no trump. Moving to board 2, it looks like a fairly straightforward 2-no, 3-no auction, although Gavin's, your hand looks like it might be close. How close was this for you? Is there a small change, or was this obvious, or what's your thinking on 3-no?
Well, for me, it was never a question of whether I was going to bid. I had the option of bidding puppet Stamen, which I decided not to do. I don't really have a good reason. It just seemed like my hand was going to be better finding no trump. I had the king of my doubleton, and exposing anything about Steve's shape seemed not the best with his hand. But no, with I mean I would probably bid 3 no trump. Even if my king of spades was the queen, I would still bid 3 no trump. I would bid 3 no trump if my queen of diamonds was the jack. For me, a 5-card suit and 4 points or so is just enough to raise the 3-no. You can't really painting 2-no making at teams vulnerable. It just seems it seems like when you have a 5-card suit, either it's going to be good for tricks or it isn't, and just bid 3-no and hope. I'm not saying do it with 0 points, but if I had king 5th and out, I would raise the 3-no trump for sure. So I did not consider passing.
It's one of those things that you just, you raise. I mean, Gavin obviously has an automatic raise, but what he's saying is that on hands that are close, you raise and you often go down, but sometimes you make it, and at the other table they're always in 3-no also. So, if you want to stay consistent with the other table on most of those borderline hands, you should bid game. And if you're going for a swing, you should probably pass.
Oh, sounds good. Good. Now it looks like Joanne led the 9 of spades, so they were playing what sort of leads?
They were playing Rusa now.
Rusina, so the 9 showed the 10. Very good. Now, Steve, you chose to win this trick with the jack. You had a choice of ace or jack. Tell us your thinking on that, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I picked up the diamond suit for 4 tricks, I had 9 top tricks. So the only problem was if I lost 2 diamond tricks. So I felt that winning the jack of spades increased the chances that maybe somebody would do something silly and chip to a heart, and that could be good for me and make it look like I have ace jack third of spades. You know, if I win the ace of spades, it looks pretty easy just to play a spade back. And if, you know, there's in the diamond suit, I'm going to want to start by leading low, not in honor, because if I lead in honor, then I lose to the stiff ace, and that's a problem. So it doesn't really help me to win the ace of spades and play the king of diamonds, because I would never do that, because then if I lose to the stiff ace, that's bad, and it only picks up ace jack fourth.
Right. Any other thoughts about the play on this hand?
Pretty much the jack of diamonds was the bingo card. It's like, that's it. It's not too much, you know, let's see if somebody drops a trick, the queen jack of clubs or something, but pretty boring after that.
Looks like you played it out when they continued spades. That was your last spade stopper, so you pretty much just take your winners at this point.
Right.
Okay, very good. At the other table, they had a very similar auction. And Ari, you also led a spade. I'm interested in your decision point on spades versus hearts as the opening lead.
Right. So I actually thought this was, you know, sort of a hard problem. You know, either major could be right. You know, things don't look great in terms of beating this hand because, you know, I don't have a 4-card suit. My clubs are so bad that declarer's clubs are likely to be well placed. And the jack of diamonds, you know, it's a singleton, so if that's a card that declarer needs to find, he's probably going to find it. With that said, the reason I chose a spade is, you know, there's three cards the partner may hold in spades, which would make the spade lead safe. You know, the ace, the king, or the jack. Whereas in hearts, you know, if partner doesn't have either the ace or the jack, then it's probably going to blow a trick. So that's why I chose a spade.
That's interesting, Ari. I mean, I would have led a heart, and I have no idea what's right. I just would have thought a heart had the best chance to develop 5 fast tricks. And they led a spade at both tables. You led one, and
yeah, I mean, you know, the reason is since you only have a 4-card suit, even if the heart sets up, you know, if partner is the jack of hearts, that might set up 3 tricks, but we still need 2 more. So, you know, that's why I chose to go for the safer lead.
When I definitely think that there's more potential for 5 tricks in hearts. Just your partner could have ace fifth of hearts, and you take, you know, ace 9 fifth of hearts, and you take the first 5 heart tricks, or jack fifth of hearts. If partner has 5 spades to the jack or 5 spades to the king, it's not, you know, you're not as likely to just take 5 winners. That's where I would think that the 5, just when you catch partner with 5 of one or the other suit, that hearts is the one that's going to lead you to 5 winners.
Well, even if he doesn't have the ace of hearts, he just has a 5-card suit.
Right.
If he has a 5-card spade suit, you need him to have an honor plus an entry.
So which heart would you lead in that case?
I would lead a high heart always.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not the one that says unblock.
Sorry, when you said always, it's not always. In this hand,
on this hand,
you typically from king queen 8-7 you would lead low. The reason with this hand I would think you'd lead high is because you just don't have a hand that, like, the same reason that you didn't lead a heart at all is the reason that you're supposed to lead an honor if you lead the suit, is because leading low, just the chances of coming to five tricks by leading a low heart are a lot worse than chance of coming to 5 tricks by leading a high.
The other reason why, particularly with this hand, you know, king queen 8-7, you don't want to block the suit if partner has, you know, ace, you know, and 4 small ones.
Right. I mean, always was, what I meant was always when they open 2-0. When they open 2-0 and you have king queen 4th, you should lead an honor because you really don't want to lose to a straight jack. So if you're going to lead the suit, lead an honor.
Cool.
Okay, very good. Any other thoughts on on the lead before I move on to the rest of the defense? Okay, it looks like Howard chose to win this with the ace. We don't have him to ask for his reasoning. But then he also attacked diamonds by leading a middle spot, also finding the singleton jack. And upon winning the third diamond, Eugene, you had an interesting decision to make. Can you tell us about your thinking on this?
Yes, I had a choice between returning a spade or returning a heart. Ari had discarded the 7-4 of clubs on the diamonds, so I knew that he didn't have a club card. So the question was whether the defense was going to try to cash 4 fast heart tricks or whether to knock out the spades and hope to come to 5 tricks by running the spades and the ace of hearts.
Interesting. Now, were the clubs attitude and then suit preference, or attitude and then count, or what were the significance of the 7-4? What options did he have?
The 7 was attitude. The 4 was present standard count.
Present standard count, okay.
Right. So at this point, I eventually decided to shift to a heart, and that was wrong. Ari and I discussed this hand after the match, and I was playing declare for ace, queen, jack, third of spades, and king doubleton of hearts. But if that were the position, then Ari would have started life with 10-9-6 of spades, and he would have pitched a spade on one of the 2 rounds of diamonds. And that would induce me to shift to hearts, with him holding ace, queen, jack, fourth of hearts.
Very good, yes. Okay, thank you. Any last comments on this board?
Just that I then reading partner's heart 3 as possibly low from jack third or something. I returned another heart after winning the queen.
So it looks like Guru's winning the ace of spades play was better than my winning the jack of spades play. What we learned from this hand.
Yes, actually, that was part of my decision, because I said I know Declare has the jack of spades, and yet he did not win it cheaply. Does he have ace jack doubleton or ace queen jack third? Mm-hmm. So I was sort of I said maybe he has ace queen jack third. He wants me to lead a spade back. So I was just going more by psychology than by logic, which was a problem. So.
Yeah, I say you can chalk it up to my charge sheet.
I mean, just to say, I think clearly he won the ace of spades because his plan was to play a diamond out of his hand, and he does benefit if diamonds are 4-0, that he's going to get to go to the spade and finesse diamonds. There's some benefit to keeping an entry in dummy. I mean, not much benefit, which is, I mean, it's very slight, but which is why Steve opted not to worry about that and just play diamonds out of his hand. But there is from a technical, if your opponents knew your spade holding, you would always win the ace. So it's just a question of giving it away or not giving it away. But and this does make me think that when you won the jack, I would think that if you had any way to, by giving the opponents the perception that you have ace jack third of spades, that gives them less high card points to work with in general. So if they know you don't have the queen of spades, then they know their partner has it. So they know how that partner has fewer high card points when they're trying to beat 3-no trump. But if they think you could have ace queen jack of spades, then that widens the number of hands that their partner could have, which is very interesting, I think.